Hello, class. This is my second uh, structured communication with you this week. Every week I have two structured communications. The first one is like, hey, this is what's due this week, and that kind of thing. The second one, I bring an article about a pressing topic or something that's cool. Well, today's is more of a pressing topic. Usually it's something that's cool. This pressing topic, I've seen this also in the mainstream media. There's now an Mpox health emergency. So this is a second outbreak of Mpox. The first one wasn't nearly as bad. This one seems to be a little bit worse. Uh, Basically, the mortality rate is higher. So you can see for 15,600 cases, there have been 537 deaths. This is apparently much more significant than the previous outbreak that has happened. So there's some good news. Some good news with this outbreak. If there is good news, is for outbreak, but it's not very contagious. So this disease is spread only by skin-to-skin contact, compared to other diseases that are airborne, like COVID, like measles, like colds, like influenza. Those spread very rapidly and they can move around very quickly and are extremely contagious. So Mpox, though, is not going to be spread that quickly because it only involves skin-to-skin contact. So that greatly reduces that. I mean, for instance, for measles, is extremely contagious. If someone's been in the elevator, leaves the elevator, you get in the elevator, you can catch measles that way. And that's why measles outbreaks are so scary. When you read about measles outbreaks, people are like, everyone get vaccinated really fast because measles, it's a terrible disease. So you do not want to get measles. So, and so first of all, this disease is not very contagious like other diseases. It's also can be controlled very easily with vaccination. Some diseases are not very contagious and cannot be controlled with vaccination. HIV, for instance, is that way. HIV mutates too quickly to be contained by vaccination. Although HIV is not particularly contagious, it really involves only, it's a bloodborne, so that means you can only get it if you share blood, share needles, or engage in sexual intercourse with someone. So that's how you can transmit HIV. And that is, of course, limits the scope of the virus to be able to spread, whereas something like measles or COVID or influenza can be spread via airborne, can be spread very quickly. Monkeypox is easier to get than HIV because it just involves skin-to-skin contact. You don't necessarily have to exchange blood-borne pathogens in order to get it. So this is easier to get than HIV, but significantly harder than an airborne virus, and the spread will be slow. And if it does become significant, it can be easily contained with vaccination, and part of that is because of the fact that it's a DNA virus. A virus is a protein shell with nucleic acid in the middle, either DNA or RNA. DNA viruses tend to mutate more slowly. RNA viruses, also known as retroviruses, they tend to mutate much more quickly. So, and of course, we have treatments, and including the messenger RNA treatment. We don't have it right now, but we can develop it very quickly. So the COVID vaccines were made in a matter of hours. For instance, once we knew what the COVID spike protein looked like, so BNT and Moderna had a vaccine out very, very quickly. Not only that, they anticipated mutations. So we know so much about viruses now. We have an idea how they will mutate, and so the jab you got for well, at least the ones in the United States for Moderna, and we call it Pfizer, but it's really BioNTech, which is a German company. They just licensed their technology to Pfizer. The Pfizer vaccine and the Johnson & Johnson viral vector vaccine, they were all made in anticipation for mutations. So that's how good our medical technology is. And I mean, it took a while for the vaccines to reach the market because from the mRNA, they were well, they were the first time we were using that technology for treatment on the massive scale. Our regulations slowed us down, but the actual products themselves were made really quickly. So, but of course, we have the regulations in place, right? Because you want to make sure that the treatment is safe. But we have that capacity, we have that knowledge, and we have that ability to do that. So it's interesting, and for vaccination is, so you can see here, risk to the general public are currently very, very low. So right now the virus is mostly contained in the Congo, and the spread is not very easy. This is not like COVID where you can get it if you're on the bus or an elevator. Like this is not something that you're going to catch from that scenario. You actually have to come in close physical and touching contact with someone to get this disease. So that, of course, makes it much more difficult. Well, generally speaking, that is how it's spread, but it's not. It's much more difficult to get. So, okay, so hopefully this is not too somber for you. It's a little scary, but there is hope. And it is a pressing issue, though, and this is science, and you are taking a chemistry class, and chemistry is a requirement for most. And why are you taking chemistry? Well, because chemistry is extremely useful. So many of the things I talked about, what is a protein coat, what is a nucleic acid, that's kind of this is the chemistry involved. And this is also coming from the American Chemical Society. This is the largest chemistry professional organization in the world, and this is from their magazine. And it's a pretty recent topic, and I'm sorry I picked something so somber for my first, uplifting article for you, but hopefully it shows you that, this stuff is real. This stuff is real, and it does affect us, and it does in some way connect to the stuff we're learning in the class this semester. So I'm going to send you the article, and I hope you enjoy it, and I'll send you a fuzzy animal picture as usual, and I think I picked some koalas this time, so I got to be careful not to send too many cats. I'm kind of a cat person, so I have to force myself to not send cat pictures. So, okay. Also, with these videos, I want to emphasize the importance of mental health. So depression, anxiety, especially anxiety, is on the rise. And mental health it's a tough burden to have. It can be crippling. Other issues, food insecurities, housing insecurities, I think they're not necessarily tied to mental health, but they are issues. But for you as students, if you are suffering with those issues, it's going to affect your quality of life and your performance in your lives. So with that in mind, if you are suffering from those issues, please feel free to reach out to me. I will do what I can to help. So I'm part of the university, therefore I have a pretty big network. The university has its own services. It's also tied to the general community. The general community has its own services, and they work together. So if you need help in some of those, of course, the easiest one for that is food insecurities. So those tend to be the easiest problems to solve. Housing insecurity is a little more difficult here in Hawaii. Mental health, it really depends. So what services you have or what your needs are in that, but it really just depends on the person. So, but like I said, this is a very important thing. In my opinion, it's more important than studying chemistry. Here I am, your teacher. I'm not trying to say that my stuff is not important. I think it's very important, but I think these things are more important. So with that in mind, let me know if you need any help with anything. If you have any other academic issues in this class or in other classes, or just academic issues in general that you need help with, please let me know. I can either solve them directly, or I can point you in the right direction or the right people that will help you. So another reminder, Monday is a holiday, so don't forget Labor Day holiday. Also, the hurricane that was coming our way looks like it's been downgraded to a storm, and it might be further weakened as it starts interacting with the trade winds. But it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a rainy day tomorrow for Friday, so I'm making this video on a Thursday on Oahu. So Looks like so we might get a little bit of rain, but it's not nearly the Category 2 hurricane that it once was. So I don't want to talk too long, so hope you enjoyed your first week of class. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and aloha.